So welcome back to the HR Green Room, the place where people, culture and a couple of splashes of green come together. We're your hosts. I'm James, Chief Operating Officer at Phase 3.
And I'm Louise, Head of Customer Success.
And together we lift the curtain on the world of HR with fresh ideas, honest conversations and a few surprises along the way. Each episode will ask what made us green with envy, what deserves the green light this week, and of course we'll be joined by some brilliant guests as we are today. We're joined by Chloe, who bring their own splash of colour to the conversation. So grab a seat, the show's about to start in the HR Green Room. Welcome, Chloe.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're the first guest that we've had on the podcast series.
Highly honoured.
Highly
Thank you.
I'm sat in the hot seat as well. So
I am.
yeah. So Chloe, obviously we know you very well, and your brilliance shines through. But let everybody in the audience know who you are and what you do. What's your name? Where you come from?
Yeah, exactly that.
Brilliant.
So I've been at Phase 3 for 3 years now, and I'm the HR advisor there. So I sort of head up the employee experience in terms of just people's well-being and making sure that what we offer suits our business, really. I've worked in a large business before, so I think going from the large wellbeing initiatives to trying to scale it down into a smaller business has been a really good learning curve to sort of personalise it a little bit. So excited to talk more on that today.
How big was the big company?
Was international, so
right.
Tens of thousands of people. So
wow.
to go from that to less than 100 is rethinking the strategies. Yeah, definitely.
We are going to talk about that. It's a talking point actually, because often small businesses think that things aren't affordable and that they can't do things as well as you could if you had 10,000 employees. But I think you guys in particular have demonstrated that even in a small company, we can offer a lot and it be meaningful to people as well. At the same time, there are challenges because we don't have things like employee forums where you've got 30 people from different backgrounds who can come together and be a bit of a committee on something. So we'll discuss those challenges. But in terms of your HR background then, so you are currently doing CIPD as well?
Yeah, I'm studying my level 7 CIPD at the minute. So that's been an exciting challenge, and Phase 3, support me through giving me some study time for that as well, which has been fantastic. So
what's the topic that you've chosen for your kind of dissertation discussion?
Probably links a bit to what we're discussing today. So stress resilience in the workplace and how we can offer, initiatives to help support through management training or just offering, wellbeing and support through managing stress in the best way.
Well, before we get into the detail, we're going to ask you a question that we're going to ask all of our guests. So we've got a feature called Back When You Were Green. So when you first started out in HR or where you were fairly new to the function, what was something that you maybe learned the hard way or a mistake that you made that you're happy to share or something that went wrong?
So as you know, working in HR is something that's quite tricky, especially when you're new into it. I was about 21 when I first got into HR, so I think being young and quite naive to having to be exposed to some difficult conversations, and I used to take that home with me and worry a lot about things, and you have to be empathetic to be in HR, and I think that's a trait that naturally comes to people, but I think it's being able to switch off when you go home and know that you're going to be supporting people, whatever, but not worrying all the time because it's such an easy thing to do. You want to give that care and support to people, but you can't do everything and you've got to switch your brain off.
How do you do that? How do you kind of de-stress from work conversations and difficult conversations through the day?
Well, I love the gym and, just going out after work and making sure that I switch my laptop off. I'll go do a class at the gym and make a nice dinner, and it just gives yourself that time back. And even if you are processing things from work or thinking about things, you're allowing your brain to sort of decompress as well. So
come out of the thinking mind and just concentrate on what you're doing at the gym. You can't think about much else when you're on a treadmill, can you, except what you're actually doing?
Yeah, no, exactly that. And you'll know from, being a lover of yoga and, it's important to have a balance of doing something you love as well after work.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because these days in particular, there is that always on culture.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because we are a very flexible organisation and there are lots of them out there. And I know I have on my email signature, I might be emailing you out of your hours. This is when I'm working. I don't expect to reply if it's outside of your time. Because I think that's really important for us to model, because I have caring responsibilities.
Exactly.
I like to go to the gym when it's quieter. So I might go for a swim at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Friday. And then work 7 till 8 to make up for that time. What I tend to see, though, because obviously I look across the whole organisation, is I've got people who love the early part of the day, and I've got somebody who will start emailing at 5 a.m. because they're up, they're on it, that's when they start their day. People who generally work the standard 9 to 5 might nip out for their school runs or whatever in between. And then we've got the people who kind of log back on at 7 till 10. So throughout a day, if I felt the pressure to respond to everything that came through, I'd be having to respond from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m.
You wouldn't switch off.
And I know you're really keen on the right to disconnect, aren't you? It's something we've spoken a lot about. So how do you think we can enforce that in organisations?
I think it's, something to embed from the onboarding process, that we encourage people work flexibly, and that is something that we do, advertise a lot at Phase 3. And just having that part of your email signature, if you are someone that likes to work outside of the 9 to 5, and, if you're a manager whose team, you might go do the school run, like you say, or go to the gym midday, say, I might message you at 8 p.m, but if you've worked 9 to 5, please don't feel like you've got to respond to me or check your emails. It's just embedding it into the culture that we might do that, but don't feel the pressure to, and encourage discussing what we do after work, or trying to see if people want to disconnect in a different way to you, and just it
makes it hard as a manager, though, doesn't it? Sorry to interrupt there, because if you've got somebody who is emailing at 10 p.m, how do you know if that's unusual for them,
or if they haven't disconnected?
So it's almost harder to see if somebody is doing more than they should be without them telling us.
And I think that's where you've got to look for those social cues of how your employees and how your staff, if you're a manager, are feeling during the day, because if they haven't disconnected, the signs should be there that they're overwhelmed, maybe stressed. You should be able to have that open conversation with them to say, I spotted that you sent an email at 10 p.m. If they're usually doing that, ask them, is it because you're not disconnecting, or is it because you have worked flexibly and had a bigger break in the day? You've got to have that open communication. And I think it comes from the top as well. It's about a culture of wellness, which has to be modelled. So I was delighted when I spotted in one of my colleagues' calendars, she'd put in with somebody that they were having a walk and talk, which is something that I'm really keen on. We can have the same conversation, you and I, or me and you, Chloe, if we're sat at the desk, or if we're both out walking, having a bit of a break, getting some fresh air. So I've modelled that, and I was so happy when I saw that some of my staff were doing the same thing, and the trust is there, so that I know that they're still working, but they're doing something that's good for their well-being by getting out the house.
Yeah. And obviously we started the conversation in terms of big versus small.
Yeah.
What kind of things have we got at Phase 3 that you think other organisations might be green with envy about?
I think you'd be surprised how much you can implement in a small business. We just asked a simple question to everybody and said, what do you want to see that you think we could facilitate? One of those was the Bupa dental scheme, and then we was able to implement that. And I think that was a massive success, and people really appreciate that benefit. Having the EAP system, which has access to counselling sessions and things that people might not expect that you would have in such a small business, that we do have. I think we offer quite a lot of different methods of support, which people really do take on and appreciate.
The thing that surprised me, I remember when we first got Perkbox, that's the solution we use, isn't it? That as a small business, we could afford to offer car salary sacrifice and childcare salary sacrifice and enjoy technology salary sacrifice, things that you don't think are as accessible in a smaller business because of the cost to administer them.
Yeah, exactly. And I know like most employees take up those benefits because they are fantastic.
Really good.
Leading up to Christmas, I've had so many emails saying, can I use the Enjoy Technology benefit? Because, someone wants an iPad or something like that. And the way it's just taken out of your wage little by little, it can really help someone to save up for events like birthdays and Christmas.
And for a car, no deposit, salary sacrifice, so you are saving against that. I think when we implemented Bupa, we actually switched our pension to be salary sacrifice.
We did.
And used the saving from doing that to then provide the dental scheme.
Yeah. So just little changes like that it's made such a difference.
Yeah. And what about other benefits? We talked about flexibility. Leave is probably one that is quite enviable from Phase 3's perspective.
Definitely. And when I was part of the recruitment process, I think everybody who interviewed asked the question, is unlimited annual leave, like, is that a real thing, or is it, have you just made this up? And it's like, well, no, we offer unlimited annual leave. So it really is that, isn't it? It's something there to enjoy the big moments in life. If someone needs a 3-week holiday, or there's not a set amount that people have to take, I think it really takes the pressure off counting the days and thinking, I need a week but I've only got 3 days left. And it really is something that not many people offer, and I think it's used really effectively in Phase 3.
And I think again that's where it links into that culture that we work hard, we're engaged, it's a great place to work. But the unlimited leave, it's there as a backup if you need it. If something happens unexpected, or you need just some time for yourself, for your own well-being, you're not counting, well, I've only got 20 days and I'm exhausted, I need a bit of time off, or I've got loads happening with family. You've got that buffer, haven't you, that you can take that time for you.
It was a bit of a fad, unlimited leave, wasn't it, at one point?
It seems so.
The research showed that actually people with unlimited leave took less. So I think we learned quite a few lessons when we implemented. I know you review our policies annually, but the policy we put in place was you can't have the same day every week, so effectively making yourself part-time, because that's unfair to people who are paid part-time.
Of course.
You've got to give a certain amount of notice. If you aren't performing, then it will not be accepted. There has to be that give and take in terms of you've had a busy time, therefore you're owed it back. But also the fact that we have a floor cap, that you must take a minimum of a certain amount.
Exactly.
And that brings with it its challenges, doesn't it, in terms of finding cover and those kind of things.
And we review that quarterly. So if we, suspect someone's taken what might look excessive compared to someone else in their team, then we'll review that and encourage the person who's not taken enough to take some more leave. And
fair usage.
Exactly. So it is good.
And it all comes down to the trust, doesn't it? I think it was born from, we used to do buy and sell annual leave, as a lot of organisations do. And then we had the standard every year you get an extra day, you get your day off for your birthday. And then actually we thought there's people who want to do volunteering, training outside of work. They wanted to do attend sports events because they were competitive. And so all these different types of leave that we have, actually for us, it's as easy as there's one type of leave.
Exactly.
It's unlimited, and whatever you need it for, you can take it within reason. And it's something that I get asked a lot about in terms of other HR professionals who are interested in how it works. So if anybody does want to know more, then feel free to comment and ask us. And we'll put you in touch with Chloe, who's reviewed the policy. And what about recognition? Recognition is obviously important in organisations, isn't it? How do you try and encourage recognition at Phase 3?
So it's something that we always tell new starters about, that we do recognition through our employee hub, which goes through the 5 pillars that we think are most important in Phase 3. So if you think someone's credible, that something's gone above and beyond in the role, that we want to give them a shout out. It's not exactly something that's costing us, it's free, but it's something that's highlighting recognition that we put in our weekly updates to highlight the amazing things that people do week in, week out. It doesn't have to be something huge, but I think it makes a big difference to people to say, oh, my manager's recognised me for doing this, my hard work's paying off, it's being recognised.
And so if you're an Office fan, they had the Dundies in the office.
The Dundies,
office. We have the Peas, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We love the Peas. So we like to put 10 categories for nomination, and we put those out to everybody to vote. So it's not picked by anyone else other than employees at Phase 3 for the winners. So, you know, we have some really good categories in there, like best internal project, best customer project, Assad's player of the season we have as well. So just, you know, an all-round different viewpoint to recognise everyone's efforts from the year.
My favourite is the most recognised employee, which sounds weird, but it's the one that has been earned through consistent overachieving or delivering better outcomes for customers or doing great work internally. So that's one that's measured by the HR system, isn't it, in terms of who's been recognised the most throughout the year. Yeah. I think the last year's winner was about 25 pieces of recognition that they'd had across the year from various people in various departments. So it just goes to show the difference it can have.
It really does. And then when you actually quantify it, and we send out the results to everybody, so the nominations that they've had, and I think for them to see who's really voted and what they've said about them, it's really nice. Yeah.
Okay. And Louise, when it comes to mental health and physical health as well, you obviously have interests outside of Phase 3 that you could perhaps share with everybody in terms of what you do.
Yeah, I do. So outside of Phase 3, I'm a yoga teacher. I teach twice a week, and it's become a real passion of mine because, you know, without going into all of the detail, I've been through a lot in these 42 years, more than most, unfortunately.
You don't look a day over 21.
But, you know, it's not been easy. And I was going through a really, really difficult time, and someone said to me, "Have you tried yoga?" I thought, oh, for God's sake, I haven't got time, you know, how's that going to help? But one evening, I just put on a video on YouTube, and I thought, I feel a bit better. So the next night I did the same thing again and the same thing again until it actually became really ingrained in my day-to-day life. And I think the reason that I enjoy it so much is because for me, it's a work inwards as well as a workout. So Chloe, you spoke about going to the gym, working out, and I said that takes you out of the thinking mind. Yoga obviously does the same because all you're concentrating on is your breath and, you know, the postures, etc. But it takes you into parasympathetic nervous system. So when you're at the gym, for me, I don't like the gym, but that's because just personal choice. Life is so busy. We live in 24-hour stress now. We were talking about the right to disconnect. We think about stress in our lives, going to the supermarket at midnight, the lighting, it's as if it's the middle of the day. Not to mention like the blue light from technology. You don't know if you're coming or going. So your body is constantly in sympathetic nervous system. But by concentrating on, your breath, those calming practices, meditation, yoga, you go into parasympathetic, and it just makes you feel so much better because you've had that space. You've had that space from that crazy, busy life to just be and to decompress. So a lot of the practice I then try to bring into my working life and into my day-to-day life as well. And I'm so pleased that Wellbeing has now come to the top of the agenda and priorities for so many organisations because we're seeing just how stressed people are and people need this. So whether it's, yoga or Pilates or going to the gym, I think when we have mentioned about culture from the top, it's really important that colleagues and employees feel confident or comfortable to say, I really want to go for a swim and the best time is 3 o'clock. I'm going, and modelling that because then when you come back to work, you're going to give your best at work because you've given something to yourself as well.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I think rituals, isn't it? This is the thing. And this is what you're working on at the minute, isn't it, for us in terms of some wellbeing rituals. The reason I prefer a swim is because it is that disconnection. And when you're in the pool, you can't have any tech with you. I mean, you can have your headphones. I don't have those. But it's literally you the water, and I do 45 minutes to an hour, and it's the only time really where I'm not being contacted, or if you're in the car, people can still ring you. It's that one time where you've got no devices, nothing else happening, and it's just you and the piece of what you're doing. And I think often
unplugged.
That's when you get your best ideas and best thoughts, isn't it?
You do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you're in that relaxed state of mind, like I say, that's the space where the ideas just suddenly come. You can be more creative, can't you? So I think it's really important that people feel that they can do these well-being practices or these micro moments throughout the day, because with tech, the people start scrolling, you're looking at the phone. That's not giving you any space to relax or just have that micro moment of wellness.
Yeah.
And that's something that at phase 3 we again allow people to do, is take that time out. We used to have, was it Wellbot?
Wellbot.
Yeah,
we did.
And everybody hated it.
Everyone hated it.
I loved it. But
Yeah, just that reminder, have a glass of water, or you've been online now for 3 hours.
Stand
with
up
no
and
break.
stretch.
Do something.
I mean, we've both got Apple Watches on, haven't we? You're not wearing one,
Absolutely not. I don't even own one. Yeah, no.
But it's so interesting, isn't it? Because I started differently than how I manage it now. So I had Teams out, everything that was a notification on my phone was on my watch. So you're in a meeting and you see ping, 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 and you feel the buzz on your wrist. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like the Ring camera at home telling me that there's somebody at the door.
Yes.
But there's that constant distraction.
There is.
And I think that's the thing. I've recently learned the Do Not Disturb feature on my iPhone, which I've never, ever used before until I literally in the last month I started doing it when I go to bed.
Yeah.
And I think it's just knowing that you're not laying in bed hearing bzz, 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 bzz constantly from that and the right to disconnect again. But I think that's something that's really important to us, and to set that standard that is how we'll do it. But I also love the features that say, you haven't stood up in the last hour, stand up, have a walk around, and then it rewards you for it.
Exactly what I've got mine for, just tracking my steps and making sure with you got a work from home job that you are getting up and moving around a little bit, because otherwise it does remind you, if you say you've only done 2,000 steps by 5 p.m. and you think, goodness me, I need to get up and walk a little bit. So
It's all those little things though that we should as humans know.
We should.
But we don't.
But we rely so much on technology now, don't we?
Yeah, and it's a real, again, busy world, busy lives. We often get wrapped up in what we're doing and catastrophize to a certain extent as well. And I do sometimes think, I might have been in a full day where from 9 till 5, I've been in back-to-back Teams calls. I've barely had time to run to the toilet. My water bottle's been empty for the last 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that's not right, but am I stopping doing it? Probably not.
Is this why we all lost access to your calendar?
Absolutely.
Absolutely is,
yeah. Suddenly we couldn't see it anymore.
Yeah,
and it's because someone stole your last 15 minutes.
I had a day where I had 15 minutes where I wasn't in a meeting and somebody dropped in that slot, and I just thought,
not on.
And this is what we discussed, didn't we, in terms of these rituals, in terms of etiquette in diaries, and it's something that's so important.
It is. It's something that we take for granted, but it is so important. So, we're reviewing that people might be putting in 50-minute meetings now instead of an hour meeting. So, get through the agenda you need to, but then let's have 10 minutes so we can wrap up, have a comfort break, fill up my water bottle and reset for the next meeting without just being back to back, like you say, because I don't think you give your 100% when you just back to back in meetings, because you've not give.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, and if you're talking about one topic and then going into another, your brain's thinking, wait, what am I talking about now?
It gets to 5 p.m. and you think, right, that meeting I was in at 9 o'clock, what are the actions that I needed to do from that? And then you're kind of working through your day.
Yeah.
Anybody who's had therapy knows the 50-minute hour is quite it's quite a common thing, isn't it? That you have the 50 minutes and they've got 10 minutes to write up their notes and catch up afterwards and prepare for the next person that's coming in.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea. I also like the no meeting Wednesday afternoons.
Yeah.
Like when you're at university, varsities were always in the afternoon on a Wednesday. There was no lectures.
Yeah.
Everybody all being out of them at the same time meant that everybody could engage more in what they were doing with the clubs and things. So I think that's a really nice idea as well that we're trying to bring in, and walk and talks. And are there any other rituals that we're trying to recommend?
We're going to be making a busy season playbook. So for, peak seasons like summer and Christmas, how do we challenge in advance that everyone wants the same time off, but we don't want people who are working to be overwhelmed? And how do we face challenges when, particularly for payroll near Christmas, that can be a really busy time. So encouraging people to take those breaks and remain, able to function productively under stress.
Yeah. Well, we are coming towards the end of this episode. We can talk about well-being
again
all day.
For hours, yeah. But what I'm really interested in, one of the features that we have is, what do you want to give the green light to? So is there a system, process, thing that you've seen, policy that you've seen elsewhere? I asked somebody else this last week, and they said at Brewdog they have paternity leave for when you get a new pet.
Goodness.
Yeah. It's not one that I'll ever be interested in, but is there anything from maybe a well-being focus that you think it would be great if we had this?
Yeah, I mean, with us offering unlimited leave, if someone wanted a paternity break, I suppose they could do. And it is, we offer so much that it's hard to say explicitly that you want something implemented. But, with us going on about the gym for the past hour, I think some offer free gym memberships. That's always a good perk. But, as a small business, you can't just start demanding loads of financial perks. But that's just me being selfish because I love the gym.
We have salary sacrifice gym memberships.
We do.
Yeah, not a lot of people actually engage in that one. And I think it's because if you're already in a contract with the gym, you have to break that contract and start a new one. So
terminate it, yeah.
Yeah, interesting though. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be nice if we had a gym in the workplace, wouldn't it? I invested in a walking desk. So I've got a treadmill under the desk. So if I'm in a meeting where I'm not actively contributing as much, or you're in a town hall or a training session or something, I can still pay attention whilst I'm walking. It's a good way to get the steps in as well.
And I think normalising like a bit of movement and wellness in the workplace as well. Like, I don't care. I would sit in the office today and have, like a bit of a stretch. I can feel in my spine. I need to decompress. Well, normalise that. The fact that you can get up, have a stretch, like take a moment to yourself. I think that needs to be more regular in the workplace. If you look at in a lot of Asian culture, before they start work, they'll all together be practicing yoga, tai chi, etc. So
you should do it at school. My sister's school used to do wakey shaky. And they'll be like shaking in the playground and like kids yoga.
Like burn the energy before
they
sit down.
Yeah. Probably was that rather than waking them up.
I used to work with children. I know that's the reason. It's a good idea, though.
So that's what you're agreeing with Envy about, having a... Well, maybe we'll have to get you to lead it every morning.
We did do that with the Joe Wicks Movement Hour, didn't we? You did a yoga session, which went down really well.
Yeah, and just normalising it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll see me in the meeting tomorrow. I might just stand up and start. If we didn't have all this equipment, I'd say, come on, up we get.
Lead a guide. We'll have to get you to lead a guided meditation in one of our episodes. That's what we'll do. For the HR professional who's too stressed.
Brilliant.
Okay, let me think. Something that I was green with envy about from a wellbeing perspective. I mean, I do like the idea of things like free gym memberships. It's interesting. I have seen a lot of people who do a 4-day week.
Yeah.
And it's something that's been discussed at length, isn't it, in terms of if it's the right thing to do. Obviously for us in the kind of work we do, it would be more difficult. I suppose I come at it from a slant of my wife being a nurse. She does full-time hours in 3 days.
Yeah.
So depending on the rota falls, she might have a 3-day on, 4-day off kind of week, or she might have kind of 3 days off in between the next stint. And that's great for her because it means she can do things through the week and things. So I'm not necessarily agreeing with envy about having a 4-day week, but I think that flexibility of having days off through the week when you can is great. We did survey our employees though, didn't we? And we asked, would you prefer a 4-day week or to keep the unlimited leave? And it was almost unanimous. I think there was one person that said 4-day week. Everybody else said unlimited leave's better because I can be more flexible around life.
Exactly, because you've got to take into consideration if you're doing compressed hours that you've made your day significantly longer, and is having 10 back-to-back meetings in a day sufficient, or are you going to burn out and would prefer to do shorter but 5 days and have the unlimited leave? So interesting.
Good stuff. Right. Well, I was having a mindful moment. Yes. That's what that was. So thank you so much for joining us in the HR Green Room. We'll be back with more honest conversations, brilliant guests, and of course, our weekly Green with Envy and Green Light moments. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and join the conversation. So until next time, keep giving the green light to what matters most. Thank you.